Hey lovely people, you know it's time for another video, and today I'll be making beef lo mein for dinner. If this is something that you guys want to see, then definitely stick around. So as you can see here, I'm going ahead to wash my beef. I've already washed and cleaned the fat from the beef. I'm just going ahead to do additional wash here for you on camera using vinegar. So I add the beef to some water, and then I add some vinegar as well to the water, and then I'll just go ahead to drain that off. Once that is fully drained, then I'm going ahead to cut the beef into bite-sized pieces. I really wanted to get like a certain cuts of beef that I could cut in strips, but I didn't get that at my local supermarket. Instead, I got stew beef cuts at my meat shop. So that's what I'm going ahead to work with, and I'm sure it will come up perfectly fine. So right now I'm just going ahead to cut my beef into sizes, bite sizes that will be perfect for my lo mein. And then once that is done, then I'll just go ahead into the seasoning process. So next up guys, I'll be going ahead to season the meat. I'm actually going to be seasoning it using all-purpose seasoning and some browning. If it is I was doing stew beef, then I'll go ahead to add my natural seasonings to the meat. But in this case, being that I'll only be stewing it down for the cooking process, I'll only be seasoning with all-purpose and some browning. So once that is done, I'll just go ahead to cover that up and put it aside until I'm ready to start again. So guys, this is about an hour later. I'm now going to go ahead to prepare my natural seasonings that will be used in the lo mein. So here I'm cleaning up about 3 pegs of garlic, and I'm using 1 medium-sized onion, an orange, yellow, red, and a green sweet pepper, and some scallion. So I'm just going ahead to clean them up and cut them into decent sizes that can be added to the meal. I'm actually will be dicing the scallion, and I'm not going to cut the onions too small because I want them to be visible in the lo mein. And then I'll cut the sweet pepper into strips that will also be visible. So for the scallions that I'll be using, it's actually known as red stem, or for some persons red root scallion, that is normally from Central Jamaica, Manchester, or in St. Elizabeth. And I will be using these scallions because they'll also be adding some additional color, you know, the green and the red, or to some it might look more of a purple to the meal. You know, lo mein is even better when it's very colorful, and if you watch my other videos, you also know that I like to see when my food is rich in color. For my sweet peppers, I really will only be using half of each. So here you see I'm cutting the orange, dicing them into strips, and then I'll be adding half of the red, half of the yellow, and half of the green sweet pepper. So you can see first I go ahead to wash the sweet peppers, then I cut them in half, I remove the seeds from the inside, and then go ahead to dice it. So, you know, in everything we're doing, we have to have our own little Jamaican yardie style, own little Jamaican yardie flavor. So I'm going ahead to add half of a Scotch bonnet pepper to the mix as well. Hopefully it's not too hot, but you know, a little spice here and there ain't killing nobody. So next up, guys, I'm just going ahead to start to stew the beef. So I'm going to use my Dutchie, lighten up the stove, add my Dutchie pot to the stove. We add some oil, and then once the oil is heated, then you go ahead to add your beef to the pot. So basically what you'll be doing here is just frying the beef, getting them brown and nice first, and then you will go into the stewing process. So once the beef is all fried up, I will go ahead to put some water to boil, and that water will be added to the pot with the beef. But before I do so though, I'll go ahead to drain some of the oil from the beef, the excess oil from the beef. Then once the water is warm enough, then I go ahead to add it to the beef, and then I'll leave that to stew down. Just to note though that even though you're seeing me adding the water to it now, I still, at different intervals depending on the texture of the beef, whether it is soft and cooks easily or not, you'll have to continue to add water to the beef until it is cooked. So once the beef is cooked, then you know I'm going to go ahead to remove it from the pot, and then I'm moving on to add my pot to the stove in which I'll be using to cook the spaghetti for the lo mein. So once the water comes to a boil, I went ahead to add about 3/4 of this pack of spaghetti to the water based on the amount of persons that I'm cooking for, and estimate the other ingredients that I've cooked. I think that would be enough for the serving. So once that is left to boil, I'm going ahead to make the sauce. So I'll be using soy sauce and oyster sauce. Firstly, that's what I'll be mixing together. So I'm adding the oyster sauce and the soy sauce. Now both these sauces are actually have a salty taste, so you'd have to combat that salty taste with something else. So I am mixing this together, but later on you'll see that once I am done with the beef, I'll be adding the beef broth and 1 tablespoon of sugar to the mix as well. So once the spaghetti is cooked, then I'm going ahead to drain the water off. So you'll see me here, I'll be pouring it into this container to remove the water, and then thereafter I will just put it aside while I go ahead to work on the other ingredients needed for the lo mein. So guys, next thing that I'll be doing here is that I'll be removing the beef that has already been cooked from the broth and adding it to a container here. And then that broth that will be left over in the pot is what I'm going to add to the soy sauce and oyster sauce mixture, along with the tablespoon of sugar, which will then be poured on the lo mein when we get to that point. So let's get into the final stage of cooking. So I will go ahead to saute my seasoning. So I'm just adding some butter to the pot, and then I'll go ahead to add the scallion, the onion, and the Scotch bonnet pepper to the mix. I'm saving the sweet peppers for last. So just go ahead to saute these ingredients, and then once that is done, then I'll go ahead to add the beef to the pot. So next up, I'm going ahead to add the spaghetti. That's the cooked spaghetti to the pot. I really didn't bother to use the 3/4 of the packaging that are boiled to prepare the meal, as when it was finished, it still seemed to be too much for what I was making. So I just saved some to the side that I'll use to create something else later this week. Next up, I'm going ahead to add the sauce to the pot, and then I'll just do my fold and stir method to get the sauce all over the lo mein and to ensure that the other ingredients, that's the seasonings and the beef, is mixed up perfectly within the lo mein. Here, after, I'm going ahead to add the sweet peppers to the mix. So you know right now the colors are dull. We just have the color for the spaghetti and the brown for the beef and the little green from the scallion. So now I'm adding some additional color, which is the yellow and the orange, and some more sparks of green for the sweet pepper to add some color, add some spice, add some flavor. Additionally, guys, you can also add some carrot strips to the mix, which will add another additional crunch and color and taste to your lo mein. So here we have it, guys. My beef lo mein is ready to be served. If it is you liked this video, then definitely go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below as well to show me or let me know what you feel about this meal and if you're going to give it a try. And of course, you can go ahead to share this video with someone who you think would benefit from this ingredient, who would want to also give it a try. To all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for continuing on this journey with me. And if you're watching right now and you're new to the Naturally Told family, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So guys, this is where I leave you until next time. Of course, continue to be your most authentic self. And of course, guys, continue to stay naturally. Until the next video, walk good.